Today, we are talking about the power of our word mixed with a message that Spirit has recently given me on self-concept and the development of self-concept, self-esteem, self-identification, how we become who we are, and how the power of our words influence our own view of the world. And this comes at a time where there's great change in the world, in our community, in our families, sometimes maybe even our jobs, and sometimes those changes hurt, and sometimes they're very uplifting. And in my Aquarian nature, I am a continual ruminator and go into deep meditation in the whys and the hows and what I had to do with it and how could I have done it differently. And it could just go on and on and on. And it becomes very confusing when you see that happening out there and you feel equanimous in here, and you know that if there's only one, and that things are happening out there, and that's your world, and as our teaching says, it's based on your belief, then you must be believing something that isn't true. And man, isn't it hard to find that belief sometimes? Have you ever encountered that? How hard it is when it seems like the world, your world, or your view is falling apart, and you want in your nature to desperately pull it together and control and I'm reminded by Tracey that the universe is in charge. And when you see something falling apart, your personality just worries about it. It doesn't look at it as falling together. It doesn't look at it as this person left or this happened or I lost that job. It doesn't look at those as pleasant experience. It doesn't see that on the other side of that, something wonderful could be waiting. The mind doesn't put necessarily relationships together. It is based on your mental concept or mental equivalent of the world and the view of you have of yourself. That's a hard pill to swallow sometimes when you think you're a pretty great person. So I've been reading more in Maximum Achievement on this idea that that this is truly so. And I read recently in a beautiful letter this quote by Ernest Holmes that if there's unloveliness in the world, then you might just have some unloveliness in yourself. And that quote did not sit with me too well, because when chaos is happening out here, I know I have something to do with it, but I don't feel unlovely in here. I feel like I don't know what to do about it. So we seek a practitioner, or we seek guidance from teachers, and man, you can run through the gamut of teachers looking for someone to give you the right words. And you know what I found is, as I spent some time really studying this quote, really trying to understand what it meant, Spirit gave me the lamp in Toy Story. You know the little lamp, it has the base and I call it the with the, and I saw this lamp moving. So if you took a piece of paper and you drew a line down the middle and you put a thought on one side, this is crap, I don't really like it, what's going on, and you put a thought on the other side, maybe the equal opposite of it, everything's fine, the universe is in charge, things are okay, you're safe. And wherever you point that light, colors your consciousness to draw unto you that particular movement in life. That you will see more of that, like the red car. Have you ever decided, I once wanted that cinnamon chrism charger that was so beautiful, like it looks like a ruby on wheels. And my kids were leaving, and I was like, I want a fast car. And I saw that car every single time I looked out my car window, and I was like, there goes my car. And at that time, I was learning about mental equivalent, and quite honestly, didn't understand it. Like, our teaching is such a beautiful teaching, but sometimes it has to push old ideas out for us to shine the light of awareness on the new and higher teaching to show us what we are drawing unto us based on our consciousness. Now, it doesn't mean you're unlovely. It doesn't mean unloveliness exists in you. It means at some point you have been exposed to unloveliness and loveliness, and that the unloveliness, let's talk about that for a minute, because that is most often when we open our books, or when we go to look at the contract, or we get the attorney, or we got to find what's going on and we got to fix it, and we rarely turn to God and let the universe be in charge and bound ourselves in spiritual principle, and we stop looking at the objective world and we start looking at the inner world, and we claim our space of perfection. But what happens is we shine that light and we cast a line out for all of that to be drawn to us, or for us to notice it, and then we, I don't know, in my nature, might blame, we might shame, we might have a hard time communicating, we might feel really constricted inside. Have you ever been in a discord with somebody and you feel really constricted and you want so desperately from your heart to get to the bottom of it? It takes trust. It takes standing and being bound on principle. It takes sometimes seeking higher guidance because you just can't see your way out of it, and you're stuck in the evolution of your conceptual view of the world based on how you were raised. So if you were young and you heard not necessarily messages directed towards you, we've talked about this. If you've heard parents arguing, or maybe I read this morning, children that have trouble with homework were often influenced by parents that had trouble with homework and wanted their children to be better at homework than they were. So then they're like, they take on that ideal, I can't do it, I'm not strong enough, I hate homework, I hate school, and then they attract more of those people unto them. And it is quite painful. I know that I experienced that when I was younger. My mother had a 7th grade education, maybe 6th, and she wanted so much for us to be different than her. And she wanted so much for us to be smarter than her, which tells us what about her? That she didn't feel smart, that she didn't feel loved, even though she had a very loving grandmother. But those times in Newfoundland with snow up to here, and they had a 1-bedroom house with 7 children, and my grandfather was a fisherman, and my grandmother stayed at home and sent her daughters and one son off to Catholic school, and my grandfather was an alcoholic, which starts a problem right there in itself, right? And my mom speaks in her last time with us, with her limited time with us now left, great and fond memories. And I think to myself, how do you have such great and fond memories in a consciousness of limitedness and sometimes even a lack of self-worth? And then I think about myself. And where in my life, in my relationship, in a mother, my self-concept or idea of a leader, of a mother, of a wife, of an employee, a friend, that each of these has different self-concepts that we are looking and have a consciousness of lens through. And we can tell by the objective world what we believe, but we can't always believe that we believe that, because sometimes it's really hard and very painful to understand that what you cast into the mirror is what is reflected back to you and you see. Now, the problem comes in is when we judge that. When we judge the unloveliness and we think, oh, I must be unlovely. So we have to be very careful with that quote, because it can invoke shame, which, yes, again, it's a cast of consciousness. It can evoke hiding. I don't want anyone to see that about me. I love everybody. Why can't people see the love? Because I can't see the love in myself. Because I haven't said to myself, you are a great leader. Okay, sure, you got some stuff, but it doesn't mean that you're not lovable. You're a great member. You're a great volunteer. But when those messages come a-calling, and they will, because we all have our own idea and concept of self that we are reflecting into the mirror. So what to do about it? I was watching Instagram and I saw this energy coach. She said, one way is to stand and set the intention of what you want. Maybe, overflowing sanctuary as a minister. I don't even know, something wonderful. Joy, happiness, peace, harmony, bustling activities. I mean, these are all part of my vision and mission for this center. And sometimes I get stuck in the objective world going, okay, Spirit, what's happening? And I have to go inward and say, you know what? There is the sufficiency of the universe that is always supplying. Do I believe it? What is the belief that I really have about that the net that I'm casting? What about you? Have you lost a job? Have you entered into a difficult relationship with family members? There's no blame or shame on either side. There is what we cast and what we feel. And only in the recesses of our mind, in the corner of a room where we're meditating, do we rarely share the pain and suffering that we have within ourselves, or even the joy and happiness. Because I don't know about you, when joy and happiness comes from me and I'm like that skip in my step, there's this little voice that goes, how long is this going to last? When's the end of this going to come? What problem is going to come next? And it's because in my life, in my family, in my upbringing, that's what was always unfolding. So it became, at some point, little Tracey took on these ideas and carried them with her, and this lack of self-sufficiency. What messages did you hear from your family that you carry with you? Now, this doesn't mean that you don't have a beautiful life. This doesn't mean that you haven't overcome some of these, but there is a divine, beautiful nature about you, way beyond the idea and the self-concept. That is our teaching. That is what we're here to share. That is the joy and the messaging. So in this Instagram post, she said to set your intention and then to say this. And she goes, I dare you to do it at least 3 times throughout the day and see if it doesn't change your mental attitude towards life. Because the one thing that we have control of is our attitude. We might not have control of what's going on because it's already being reflected. We might not be able to change the idea of ourselves overnight. Some people can. But what we can do is change our mental attitude, and that will reveal a lot. So she said, stand, and it is happening. 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 It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. And you have a positive intention, and you sit and you say that. You know what happens is your mind starts it to believe it, to think it. Then your body starts to get excited. You start to get goosebumps, and then your stomach kind of turns, and there's this little voice that says, "Is it?" And then you go, "Yes, it's happening." And then you're kind of opening your eye and peeking, "Is it here yet?" And all the ways that we don't trust that the universe is truly in charge. But what I found is it charges a positive intention in me, raises my vibration, puts a skip in my step, I calm the heck down, and I hear the intuitive wisdom, be easy on yourself. You're doing the best you can. These are things that were out of your control. And now what's in your control is your mental attitude. Let's stop here and say a prayer. Let's look at a flower in its divine perfection. Let's talk to this thing that we call God and see what answers it has. Let's phone a friend and say, I just need to be uplifted with love right now. And then we start to see how we move in the world and create the objective form, the mental equivalent. And then we start to change a little. And as we change and we move that light of awareness to the other column that says, I am enough. It is happening. You are a great whatever, leader, friend, mother, father, brother, sister, uncle, employee. Oh, that house is there. It's mine. You move that light of awareness, like you give attention to that red car, then that's what's attracted to you. People don't change. Your view of how they say it and what they say it isn't running against that nervous system programming, those ruts in our mind. And what starts to happen is the life of your dream to come to fruition. And maybe we might even take a pause. We might take a pause and look around, and it's not here yet, Spirit. And we have this moment of distrust. But, because when we have this teaching, there's new seeds being planted and John was talking in the back room about his flowers on his back 40 and how he's redividing and replanting and removing. And that's what we're doing. We're weeding. We're planting new seeds to grow flowers. We're allowing a new energy, a new vibration. And it's not comfortable. And it's not easy. And I often wonder in my alone time, am I doing the right thing? And maybe you as a member are saying, what's happening? But what I trust is in the value of autonomy. What I trust is that Spirit surely does have us. And what I trust is as we move that light of awareness in our own life, that what we want to see is coming. And so that when those difficult conversations come, and they do, who you are in respect to that conversation is a heart-centered. So her second thing was to put your hand on your heart when you're having a difficult moment. I have a tendency to have my own way of managing this. What is your way of managing? But when we put our hand on over our heart and we take a deep breath, for some reason, energetically, it grounds us and it reminds us of the grace of Spirit and that this beautiful teaching that was given us to us through Ernest Holmes, almost fell off my shoes, given us to us by Ernest Holmes was to free man from itself, from its limited and lower beliefs, from its vibrational patterns that calls unto it. So the quality of our thinking may change, and for some of us that's quite easy, and for others it's hard. I was watching videos all weekend on the Aquarian nature, and I thought, oh, well, that explains it all. If you know an Aquarius, it explains it all. And it's so funny because I wouldn't have observed these things. Now, I'm not an astrologist, and I don't pay too much mind to it, but what I have noticed is that certain birthdays have certain vibrational attributes, and sometimes they can be similar, but they also have great strengths and zones of genius, as Mel would say. And that are we coming together in our zones of genius and seeing and taking our eyes off of people's faults and putting them on their beauty and what they bring to the table, and not their misgivings and misunderstandings, and you're doing this and you're doing that. Are we putting them on their effort and their and then the joy they bring? Are we lifting them up? Are we saying, it's okay, I got you there? Are we supporting each other? Are we turning our light of consciousness? It depends on what you want to see. In this moment, want to see joy, and I do. I want to see beauty, and I do. I want to see happiness, and I do. I want to be happy from the inside out so that all that is pulled to me. It doesn't mean that discord isn't going on. It means who I am in face of it will change, and so will you. It comes from dedication, commitment, clarity. It comes from knowing your own self-concept. It comes from your self-esteem. It comes from understanding how you were raised and being honest about it. It comes from truly looking within and dissecting and saying, oh, I see, that needs to change right there. Okay, I got it. That needs to change. Oh, I don't know how to change it. I don't even know what to do. I feel stuck. And then we ask Spirit, I step to the flow. I am so gratitude. Gratitude changes everything. I'm so grateful that you've shown this unto me. And I want to release it. Please put in my presence. Please change my light of awareness to the solution and not the problem. We can't fix the problem from the level of problem. We have to become aware that something isn't going right and that we let go of blame and we just change that light of awareness onto the thing that reveals to us the next action to take. We must treat and move our feet. We must do this together. We must hold each other. And that can be difficult because we're human beings. And some of us are more crankier than others, let's be face it. Some of us are more joyful than others. Some of us are more solution-oriented than others. But we all have our specialty. There isn't one person in this room that isn't beauty, that isn't enough. You are all enough. You are all the divine nature, as Jackson said. You are the oneness wearing the suit of whoever you are. And that suit was programmed in a particular way. And as we change the quality of our thinking, the objective, the outside world changes to fit your new idea. But we must find the opposite of what we're thinking, and we must identify it first. And the universe is so kind. It shows you in all kinds of ways when you're going down the path that that doesn't feel good, or the path of resistance, right? And I don't know about you, but I dig in. And I noticed this pattern that I don't, like I can, when there's discord, not want you to be, maybe someone said something to you about me, and I don't want that to be true, so then I will not, I'll put the mask on to make that not true, instead of going, oh yeah, that might be true. Yeah, that might be true. Because I interpret it maybe sometimes as a negative. And then I don't want to be negative. And so, being totally vulnerable and open is what we're about. And this isn't about me, about you, but if I possess this, then some of you may too. Not all of you, those of you that are 800 steps in front of me. I'd like to meet you because you could share some wisdom with me. But, I noticed this tendency, and I thought, oh, that's so interesting. And then I had a little shame around it. Like, where did I cultivate that? Where did that come from? It came from wanting to hide and feeling not enough. And, as I watch little kids run around, mine and others, just go to a daycare, you'll see it. How they feel about themselves is probably what they're subject to. So it isn't really your fault, it's not mine. But also the beauty that people demonstrate is also as well. Not your fault, not mine. It's the rainbow that we catch. And sometimes the rain stops, the rainbow goes away, and we fall into the mud, and we have to get back up. And sometimes the hole we find ourselves in, and we're looking up, and how are we going to get out of this hole? One thought at a time. One creative thought at a time. One quality thought at a time. Not how do we get here? Am I going to stay here? What happened? Who did it? How did I fall in the hole? Why do I have mud on my shoe? No. Oh, I'm in a hole. Man, God, what do you got for me here? This really feels like crap. Can we get out of this hole as soon as possible? Can you send me a ladder? Please. Ladder. And down the ladder fall, one rung at a time. One quality thought at a time. But we have to be honest about what's on both sides of the paper. The power of our words internally are what you see objectively. Now, it doesn't mean that whatever's happening isn't happening. It doesn't mean that boundaries haven't been crossed and people are unkind, and right? It doesn't mean all of that, right? That you're not crazy, I'm not crazy. These things happen. But what it does give us is the power of our own mental attitude to change the light of awareness, to hear with our heart, to see where our defenses are, to see how we're reacting instead of responding, to see how we're extrapolating information or shutting down, to see how we move in moments of distress, to look for the love and ask a revered question from Spirit. But if we're closed up, tight, and feel attacked, if that's how you were raised, those can be really challenging conversations. And we have to be honest with ourselves and others. It's a very difficult thing, but I believe in principle and the power, and I surround myself with so many beautiful people that tell me the truth. Some of them tell it more kindly than others. Some of them are more intuitive than others, but they all see me. And you know what? They still love me. That's what our teaching is. I see you and I love you. How can I support you? How can I lift you up? How can I pray for you? How can I help expand that colored consciousness and change it from a red to a bright blue? How can I be kind in the moment where it's easy to be unkind? How can I notice my own reactions? Because we're not talking about the beauty and the joy and the positive ways we react, because those really can only be amplified. The thing that gets us into trouble is the and most of us come here looking for a better way to be. And the teaching tells us all, but it is a teaching that requires us to get off of the level of the problem and into the vibration of the solution, and to trust that what is happening because the universe has designed it that way. And we have to be careful not to blame and shame and cast doubt. And we say, boy, this is not anything what we expected. Spirit, what do you got for us here? And we move into visioning. We move into the creative answer that uplifts. And it's challenging, but I believe in me. I believe in you. I believe in life. I believe in the power of spirit, and I believe the universe is in control. And I believe that whatever desire you have, there is an answer for it. I believe that you can be guided and inspired. I believe you know when you're in blame, and maybe not so easy to identify. I know that I believe when I can feel stuck, and I shake it off and I say, it is happening. I am love. That's the second thing. I am love. I am light. I am love. I am light. See, you chant this with me. I am love. I am light. 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 You can't say that without raising your vibration. You can't say I'm a beautiful me without feeling at some point in the mantra that you are a beautiful you, and you are. So what? We make some mistakes. Guess what? All we have to do is own up to them, find a better way to be, apologize, be humble, and say, okay, let's do this. Where do we move? How do we go? How do we get there? Spirit, use me. Use me. Use me for the betterment of all. Flow through me, flow through me, flow through me, so that I may respond. Show me, show me, show me the light of my awareness. Turn, turn, turn the light. And when I fall and falter and fall short, fill me up with your grace and move my feet in the right direction, so that I only may have your beautiful sun shining on my face in the midst of the most difficult times of our lives. You are the glory of spirit. There is not one in 50 billion, million, trillion like you, and there never will be. You were born to shine. Whoever put out our light, we cast love onto them, and we let those limiting beliefs go, and we step into the power and the presence that brings us to the fullness of its grace through our lives, and we become everything we desire to be. And so it is. Can we get a little, I just want to pray, just seating this in prayer, I am called to pray for this community. I am called to pray for the board meeting today. I'm called to pray for the members and the beauty that has been fulfilled within each and every person here. For those who are coming, for those who have not arrived, for those who are choosing to arrive at this destination, our vibration is high, it's lifted, that we cast our awareness onto all of the answers that Spirit has for this community to grow and to be, to serve the greater whole of Prescott. That we pray to see through our obstacles, obliterate any thought unlike perfection, and we know that the divine spirit and the essence is our fullness. It is our heart, and as we drop our defenses and we know that the answers are here. We see that in our life, in our relationships, in our community, in our jobs, with our children, with our pets, with our families, with ourselves, most importantly. That any thought, any idea, any cast that delivers anything unlike what we want to see, we just calm ourselves and move back to center and ask for the grace of the divine spirit, the creator, to show us where that light of awareness needs to shine in a different way. And we seat into the silence of Spirit, knowing it has been delivered. For wherever there is suffering, there is love. For wherever there is conflict, there is love. For wherever there is discord, there is love. And we change the light to love and invite into our hearts the answers, and we leave the problems alone. We rebuild, we remove, we renew in the spirit of grace, and that I feel the completeness wash over us in this moment. And I release these words of love and law that I know as this light has been moved. Love is the answer that is revealed, and action-oriented steps are placed on the hearts of those in this room, those outside of this room, those who are passing by, those that are online, and it is revealed to us there is always a way. I am humbled by these words of Spirit. I am humbled by your grace. I am humbled by the sufficiency of the beloved Creator, and I give myself to it in these moments. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please seal this request to Spirit for divine perfection to be shown in our lives with "and so